Well, it's yet another miserable raining day here in County Durham in England, and so what better thing than to just sit down and sew on the stitch journal. Today for the stitch journal I'm actually going to tackle this bee that was on a piece of tea towel. That's what this grey is. It's an old tea towel that was got from the thrift store. And I really liked it as a little image. I thought it would be nice on the page of the crazy patchwork. However, what I don't normally do is just go stitching over other people's images, even if it's just the bee. If you want to do that and you've got something like this, and that's absolutely fine, it's just not something I normally do. And so when I was thinking about what I was going to do for today's episode, I thought it would be nice to take the stump work on just that little bit further. So the stump work was started with the bracket fungus, where we were padding and putting extra things on to just make everything a bit more three-dimensional. And I thought the little bee would be a perfect thing to do. So it's simple embroidery, but just taking it up that little notch to give yourself a little bit more than just embroidering straight over it. And so the other thing is, that doesn't really represent any bee that's in the UK. And so the most common bee in the UK, that's the common carder bee. And as you can see, the colours are just not that black and yellow that like a traditional. If you were going to draw a bee, that's what you draw, but that's what the most common bee is. And it's one of the first that comes out in the spring. It comes out of hibernation in the spring. I'm going to keep that to one side, and that's what I'm going to turn this little bee into. So to start off, I'm going to embroider it on this piece of sheet. It's just a bit of old sheet, and all I've done is I've drawn an oval shape and nothing difficult. I've drawn it for the size that can cover my image. The size of that is about 3/4 of an inch, or almost 2 centimetres. It's not really important the size of mine, it's just that I am covering this image up with another little bee. And I've put it in my smallest hoop, and I'm just going to hold it in my hand really. So to get this little image, what I need to do first is I'm going to stitch the bee's body onto here and just make it big enough that I can turn the edges under, put a tiny bit of stuffing in, and then sew it down on here. And I'll probably embroider the legs just where they are. But for the wings, what I'm going to do, I've got this little scrap of iron-on interfacing. I'm not going to iron it on. I thought when it's cut out, that's going to look like really bonny wings. So if you've got a scrap of interfacing because you sew, then that's a good way to use some little tiny scraps off. If you haven't, and I can do it with the cotton as well. But I'm going to start first and just start with this bee. I'm going to use 2 different colours of my crewel wool. I'm going to use some of this, I've got some orangey stuff in the tangle here, which I'll be pulling out to do some shading with. If you don't have some crewel wool, just use your stranded cotton. It'll be absolutely fine, especially on these little embroideries, because this is not really going to take that long, I don't think. I'm going to thread up on a crewel needle, and I'll start with this paler yellow. So first of all, I need to get the top of the body on, and I can see from my image that actually the fur of the bee's body goes in all different directions from where the wings emerge. So I'm just going to start and lay some stitches in. And like I normally do, I'm not trying to get it perfect at the beginning. I need to try and just get all the threads laid into the right direction, and then I can go back and thicken it up. So I'm just going to go every which way. And today, because this is quite a small little thing, I'm going to try and film this just in real time without any editing if I can, because sometimes it takes me 3 times as long to edit the videos together as it does for me to do the stitching, because quite often I'm stitching for so long. I'm going to try and just do it a bit more real time if I can. So I've been round in a bit of a circle because that's what I can see on my photograph. I'll go back round. Remember, this just has to be the body. The wings are going to come from in here somewhere. I don't know whether you can hear the rain, but it is absolutely pouring down here. It's been so wet this winter. A lot of the fields here are so flooded. The poor farmers, I don't know how they're supposed to get on the fields with their tractors, because a lot of the fields are just standing under feet of water. They're like, some of them are like lakes. We've just been so wet. I think I'm quite happy with that for an initial go round. And then I'm going to come down further down the body, and I think I'm going to just lay all the stitches in around the bottom of here, because all of the shading can be done with the next colour. So at the minute, as you can see, it is nothing difficult. My little oval is just going to get covered in with straight stitches. I need these to be sort of going straight down the body. I'll come back round. I hope I've got the right size of shape to cover my bee in. I think I will have. Maybe that once I've got the little padded shape on my page, that I will then amend extra stitches on top of it as well. But I just thought it would be lovely to make them into a little 3D shape. I sort of want almost full coverage before I start to do anything else. I thought it was worth just putting it in the little heap and holding it up to the camera for a change. I think that might be enough. I'll just lengthen the body a little bit more. So definitely look up whatever your common bee is, wherever you are, and then that's the one that you should do if you're going to try and stitch along with making this little Stumpwork Bee. And in the end, these could be attached to all sorts of things. I'm about to sew a couple of new I need a new skirt. No, I don't need a new skirt. I have the beautiful fabric that I got from the Harrogate stitching show last November, and I got this lovely embroidered linen, and it's just been waiting for me to get around to making a skirt, and I think I'm doing that this week. And I won't make a tutorial of it because I'll be doing the divided waist skirt that I did earlier in the year, so that's already up on my channel. But what I do want to do is make a plain top to go with it, which is why I got the plain jersey in March at the Sewing for Pleasure show. So I think I will make a film about that, because I haven't got a pattern, just going to use whatever I've already got. And so I thought it might be helpful to see how you can make something yourself without it being too difficult, and make yourself something nice. Right, I think I'm happy with that. I'll finish that bit off. Because patterns are really expensive, and I do buy patterns, especially if I see something really lovely that I like. I'll just get my scissors. So I do buy patterns. I like the Soul Liberated patterns. I like all sorts. I bought a lovely one at the sewing show. But for just a normal plain jersey t-shirt type of a top, I don't really need a pattern. I can just take the pattern off something I've already got, and so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to take this darker, slightly darker. I don't know if it's going to make enough difference. I think they're too near in colour, but I'll try it. If they are, I'll be back on stranded cotton. Okay, so I think I need some shading down here. I'll know straight away if this is going to do it. Oh yes, I think I can see. I'm just going to take some stitches around the outside edge. So I wonder how many of you sew your own clothes. I started sewing mine quite a long time ago, and then the more I did, the more I just didn't want to be adding to buying new clothes when there's so many around. And so then I started just thrifting more and more, and then I started altering the thrifted clothes, and then I do sort of a combination. So I don't buy new clothes at all, but I do buy thrifted clothes, normally to alter. I don't think I ever wear any that I haven't done something with. I don't think I need any more of that dark, so I'm going to finish that one off. You can see there's not going to be much stitching to do this little bee. So now I need sort of an orangey ginger. I'm going to try this here. And this brown, I think will do it too. Not much, but it might make a difference. So I've picked out a couple of browns, this orange, and oh, there's a gold. There's a nice goldy orange. All of them are likely candidates. So let's just start with, this darkish golden brown. It's only a little bit, but it'll be enough for what I need. This has 3 strands. I think I'll knock it down to 2. So yes, expect some clothes sewing maybe this weekend. Okay, I'm going back into my top part first, and there's a lot of dark gingery colour here, and the yellow is only around the outside edge, and so I'm just going to overstitch all this. And just like, because there's now a background of colour, it doesn't matter where I'm putting this, as long as I put the stitches in the right place. And by the right place I mean the right angle to how that's growing on a real bee, then I don't think I can go wrong. Sometimes I can go from the outside in, and sometimes I go from the inside out. just wherever. Just going to make sure that I leave that little frill of golden yellow at the outside edge. Definitely need a darker colour on there, but so far, and if I hop down to here onto the body, I'm just going to lay a little, sort of like a little horseshoe of colour to start the stripes off. And this way you can just build up really pretty design without having to think that you have, oh, I'm going to embroider a bee, it's going to be so difficult. As you can see, there's nothing actually difficult about it if you just take it one bit at a time. Because in the end, I've just got an oval at the minute. I think I'm happy with that. And the other thing is to keep referring to your inspiration image, which for me is a picture of the common carder bee. I'm not saying it's going to be identical, but it's going to be at least looking like a British bee from on my bit of embroidery. I'm going to put a few of them in there. I actually quite like the little shine it's giving. And I think that's all for that one. I'll finish that one off. I can go back on the tangle. I think I'll use, that's too dark. Oh, there's a good one. That looks really good. Take that out. You can see things just pull free. When I call it a tangle, it's not because it's tangled up. It's just because it looks tangled. But in reality, things just pull nicely out. I don't really ever have a problem getting something. There's 2 strands in here. Just going to leave them as they are. And I'm going to put some darker strands in the top. Oh, this is a good colour, I think. Yes, definitely. Definitely a good colour. Got a bit of a long thread in actually. I should have just halved it, but you know what it is. You know you should only have smaller stuff in, but who does? Everybody wants to use a longer length than they should do, me included. This colour is good, but I feel as if I need a reddish colour. I might end up with another one, but not quite yet. I'm going to go back down the sides here. Just small little stitches. Just where I can see it needs shade. I'm not going too much outside the lines of where I've got this, because in the end I'm going to be turning the fabric under. There's no point in me making, you know, stitches that come further out. If I want any like that on, I can do that after this little piece of material is applied to the main bit of embroidery. And it is quite amazing how much detail you can get on something this tiny. So I'll go through there. And then I think I'll change to black so I can make this start to look like a little bee. rather than just a bit of a funny colour blob. So far. Now I don't have any black crewel wool at all, and so I will be getting some black stranded cotton or something else. Let me have a look. That is all I've got, and so I will have, actually that's a really nice pearl cotton. I think I'll try that. It's a bit of a bluish black, because it's a really fine one. So let's get some detail into here. So I need a head, and it's not really that big, so I'm actually going to come across the top of here to just get the shape first. Just with straight stitch, nothing difficult. Just going to put that in. I'm not going to embroider the feelers or the front legs. I'll wait until this little piece of fabric is attached to the embroidery. I'm just going to oversew that with more stitches until I build up a little rounded piece. Just with more and more all the time. Just over stitching. I think that looks quite okay. And then on my image for my cardi bee, I need to be down here somewhere. And I'm going to do my first little black band. And again, I'm going to get the shape of the black band on first, and then thicken it all up once I know I've got it in the right place. So just take your time looking at your picture. I can't stress that enough. If you're doing a bee from your own country, or your most common bee, or another insect that you might want to put on, just keep looking. I think I spend as much time looking at my inspirational picture as I do stitching. I just always am glancing over at it, looking at it, making sure that my needle is coming up in the place that I can see I need it to go. It's not, I haven't got a photographic memory. I can't just sort of look at a bee. Obviously I can look at a bee and know what a bee looks like, but when I'm trying to stitch it, I need to keep referring to that photograph all the time. And in that way I can see immediately if I put a stitch that's not quite right, and then I can amend it or stitch over it, or it just means that you're more likely to keep going in the right way that you need to be. And I'm always looking for the direction of the, on here it's the hairs on the bee's body. I can see from the photo the direction that they're lying, so I'm going to make my stitches lie in exactly the same way. Or if it was fur, or if it was feathers. Spend as much time looking. I think embroidery, especially if you're trying to do something from nature, you need to be observant and looking at what you're trying to recreate. Don't just think you can look once and you'll sort of automatically remember the shape. You won't. It's always looking, observing, keeping in mind what you're trying to do. I think I'm quite happy with that band there. I need to come down the middle here like that. And then there's another band just almost hidden away here. But I'll get that. It's just a suggestion of a few black stitches. I hope this works out actually, because I haven't actually done a Stumpwork Bee before. This will be the first one. I've done Stumpwork other things, but for some reason I've never done a bee. So if it doesn't come out, well, you'll see how I put it right. Which I think that's also helpful, is seeing how to cope with something and not just giving up and thinking, oh, it came out wrong, put it to one side. Do something about it, make it right. Oh, the rain's actually getting worse. Actually, that I can see straight away that that stitch is a bit high there. I'm just going to come down, go back along. These are quite tiny stitches, probably only about 1 millimetre in length. But they're there. I think this is the last bit of black I'm putting in here for the moment. Oh no, I need a bit there. Really, I would be underneath my magnifier if I wasn't doing this for camera, because I do rely on my magnifier quite a lot to do quite fine work. This is on the borderline of what I can manage without looking through the magnifier. I bet you when I look back on this, I'll be thinking, oh my goodness, look at that. When I see it on the PC, I'll be thinking, how did I think that was a straight stitch? It's because I can't see it. It'll be fine though. Okay, I think that's the last bit I'm going to put in there. Right, I can see that here is up too high, but I'm going to amend that with whatever I put on. I'm actually going to get white in my needle. I think I should have white on here somewhere. There's one there. Can use that. It's a single strand of stranded. Okay, I've got white. I've got white coming through here. Let's have a look. Right on the bottom of here. Just going to come through the top actually. And see what a difference that tiny little white's making. Because it is making a difference to me. And there's some quite long white hairs just coming over this black. Looking for the place. It's quite densely stitched on here now. Actually, I've just realised I think this bit of thread's a bit pinky, but it's working in. Pieces of hair that are just coming in the other directions, so I'm going to put them in. Like little swirls of white. This white cotton's definitely pink. I've just realised. Looks pink on my white sheet anyway. But it looks fine, so I'm just going to carry on. I think I need to just try and do some surface stitching because I'm getting quite thick underneath. That's it. Okay, and then I think I'm going to put 1 or 2 here and maybe get ready to cut the little body out. I'll just put the odd 1s or 2s here, and I might go back in with the black. I'm now wondering whether that rain is going to sound so noisy on film when I watch this back, because it's so noisy. Okay, I'm going to finish the white and I'm going to put the black back in. And I'm just going to amend this black here. And then get ready to cut out. Just an extra couple of stitches, it's all it takes. Oh, I think I'm going to make that the finish of this little bit, but I'm going to keep my black thread in the needle. And here's where I find out whether it's worked. So out of the hoop, I'm going to cut this little piece out. It's going to leave a decent area to fold under. You can always cut it off, but if you cut it too short, it's just no good. I'm going to cut the whole thing out. Like that. And now I'm ready to see what I can do. So actually, I'm going to turn all of this under here to make my little body. And I don't know whether I need more stuffing than the actual fabric itself, because it's already quite thick. So I'm going to cut the fabric back again because I feel as if there's far too much. I'll just cut it once more. I don't think I need any stuffing in it. So I've now left about a quarter to a half an inch extra. I'm going to just, I've got black in my needle, it doesn't really matter what colour, I'll just keep using what I've got. And I'm just going to turn it over and start to pull in all of this excess fabric. So to start off, I just want to make sure that I don't have any white eventually when I'm finished. I'll move that so you can see it better against the white. So I don't want to have any of the white showing. So I'm just going to start and pull in. I'll use my thumb and just start stitching. I'm not going through to the front at all. I'm just going to keep pulling in, checking from the front, make sure I get the proper shape, put a stitch in. Nothing more difficult than that. All of this fabric is going to be the padding of the little bee. Don't have to be pulling things tight. You just have to be firmly stitching it. Keep just turning it in your fingers. I can see there, got a little corner of the white showing. I'll just get my needle in, pull it out of the way and stitch it down. I really hope you try and do this because it's so satisfying. The piece keeps coming back in. Get out of the way. It's so satisfying when you can get something like this, especially if you've never done it before. You'll have such excitement at seeing it come together, because I know that's what I was like the first time I ever did any bit of proper stump work. So I'll just keep pulling it in. Use my needle to help it in. Just keep checking, keep checking. You want to pull your loads of embroidery round, but you don't want any of your base fabric showing either. If you've got too much fabric, just cut a lump of it off. Doesn't matter. I thought I was going to be putting a little bit of stuffing in, but this is so tiny. The fabric itself is the stuffing. Put another couple of stitches in. And even if you're new to stitching, I've only done straight stitches. It is small, but just surprise yourself and just do it. There's my little bee body. Looking super, oh sorry, there's my little bee body. Looking super cute. So now, I haven't tested it to see if I've got the body the right size. That's a bit remiss. Let's have a look. Phew, it's just exactly right. So I think the first thing I'm going to do with mine is, I'm just going to sew him down actually. Oh, I'm just not even going to fasten off. I'll just do another couple of stitches here, make sure nothing can come apart. Going to get my needle to the outside somewhere. I'm going to position them on the top because I'm trying to cover up this generic bee with a British carder bee. And then I'm just going to sew him down. Position him in, take a bit of material off the foundation, and if you're not working on top of a design like I am, then it doesn't matter where you put your bee and what size your bee will be. Oh, it sounds like I'm doing poetry now. What size your bee will be. You'll be able to put it anywhere, but I'm particularly trying to cover this up. I'm just going to go around and get them firmly sewn on. Just through into the bottom. You really want your little stitches to be small but firm as you're sewing them down. And you can use the same colour that you're embroidering the body with, or like me, I'm just using the black because I can hide them underneath, and then I'll be ready for the legs or whatever else I'm going to be doing. He's definitely firmly down. It's the right size for my little piece. So while I've got the black in my needle, I'm just going to do the legs. And I'm going to do chain stitch at the top. And I'm just obviously covering up what's here. But once you can see your picture of your bee, it's going to just take 2 chain stitches and a straight stitch. And I'll come up to this one. Now I might have put the legs in a different place, but obviously I can't because of the printed design. So I'm just going to go with where they are. I'm not going to stress it too much. Do that. Come over to this side. I don't know whether I've got enough thread to do all of these 4 down here without changing, but another 2 chain stitches. Chain stitches are good for thickening up a line, and then end with a straight stitch, and then your straight stitch will take it to the point. Just do a straight stitch for that leg, and I'll have to finish this piece off now. So I know you might think that I've done something really complicated for this week, but actually you should be getting more used to laying stitches where you want them to be, and it's to take techniques a little bit further all the time and build up till you've got a really good knowledge of all sorts of different ways of doing things. And stump work is just so rewarding, and this is not wired, it's not being stuffed other than its own fabric. It's a simple shape, just an oval. And so just go for it. That's what I'm going to say, just go for it. Because if you don't try, you'll never know what you could have done. So I've got I actually have quite long feelers, and I think also I'm just going to do another few little stitches here for the head. Just want the head to peep out a little bit more. And the feelers are just going to be straight stitches. I'll just do a split stitch there. I know it's probably hard to see as it's black on dark grey, but I'm just going to lay the 2 feelers. And I know the Cardi B has longer feelers than is drawn on here, so I'm just going to extend them a bit. It's looking super nice so far. Now I realise that I've got a problem with the wings, because I want to attach the wings to the body, but they're actually painted on here. So I'm actually just going to paint them out because I want to put my own wings on. So the first thing is I need to actually make the wings. So I've got this bit of interfacing. You can see the shiny side. It's just iron-on interfacing. Just going to take a piece off here. And then let me just get them drawn in. And really the wings are just a triangle shape really. So if I draw a triangle with one piece coming inwards like that, I've basically got the bee's wing. Now I can make it a bit more wing-like if I want to, but before I do anything I'm going to just cut that bit out to see if I've got the right size, because I haven't measured it. So I'll just cut this out and see what it looks like. I'll just have a look here. Oh, I think that is the right size. Actually, I think I'll be happy with that. So I'm going to do 2 more of them because I don't want that one particularly. So I'm going to just fold my little bit of what they call it? I've forgotten what it is now. Iron-on interfacing. I'm going to draw around it again. Okay. I'm going to cut them out. Now what to do? Let's have a look. I'll put it on top of that so I don't make a mess on mine. I just want to colour that in right round the edge. Now if you've got a paint, you can do it with paint, but because I know lots of people don't have paint, I'm going to do it without paint too. Just to prove you don't need all the stuff. If you've got the stuff, wonderful. Do it with a bit of paint. But I'm just going to do a thicker line down the outside edge, or the fore edge of the wing, and then I'm just going to put. I don't need to be doing a lot of things because this is tiny. I don't need to be doing lots. I think like that. Doesn't have to be anything. It's just a suggestion. We're not making a botanical, you know, something to go in a museum. We're making an embroidery. Don't have to stress it too much. So there. What I am actually going to have to do is I'm going to have to paint these white ones out because I don't want them in. So I'm going to get my Inktense and see if I can just get some sort of a colour approaching that. I'm managing to paint these out quite nicely. I've just mixed up as near as I can get it to the same grey background. Nobody's really going to be bothered looking underneath to see that I've painted the old ones out. So although that might look a bit weird now, when everything's together, nobody else is going to even be bothered that that's there, least of all me. I think that's a successful cover-up. I'll just wait for it to dry and then I'll attach the new wings. I'll just put my paints away. Actually, I'm not even going to bother waiting for that to dry. It's going to be drying in seconds anyway. So I just need my 2 wings. Could do this with a bit of stiff fabric, just the same. I'm going to sew them on. Let me have a look. I've still got black in my needle. These are going to look very wing-like because of them being the light interfacing fabric. So I just come up here. I'm coming right up through the background fabric and all the fabric underneath and all my sewing. It's a bit difficult. There we are, I'm through. I'm going to lie this one on. I'll go straight across to the other side. Just put it in the right place. I'll get the other wing. I'll hold it in. I absolutely want you to let me know how you get on with this, because I think you'll just amaze yourselves of how good a thing you'll get done. I don't want them to be up like that, I'd rather they were a bit angled, so I'm going to do that with the needle. I'll do that one first. Just holding it in and angling it where I want. Taking the needle wherever it needs to go, and then I can always come back and cover that up with more stitching. Back into the other wing. I'm just going to pull it into place. I think I'm over the moon with that. There we go. I'm not bothered that this bit of grey here, for one thing I know that's going to dry later. For another thing, it'll probably look like the shadow and it'll make the bee look even more realistic. I'm going to finish this black off underneath, like that. And I'll just have a look at him and see what he looks like. Well, there we are, little Stumpwork Bee. And I don't think the wings are going to get caught anywhere. It's going to be in a fabric book. It's going to be all folded up, so they'll just flatten down. There's nothing to get caught on, and even if they do, they're just a bit of paper. They can be put on again. That's not something I'm going to be bothered about. For a little bee that was inspired by a bit on a tea towel, it's come out fine. I hope you found that little bee an interesting little piece of embroidery to watch, and I really hope that the people who are following along with the stitch journal, have a go, because it really isn't as hard as you think it's going to be. I'm going to put it there for you. You might be able to see that I've actually done something else to the wings, and all I did was take a pen and I've just drawn the wings back in with a dark pen. You could do it with paint if you want, but a pen with a dark, not a biro, a pen with ink in, just a normal writing pen, and I've just gone over the drawn lines of the pencil with the ink pen instead. It's just given them a little dark lines, but I think it looks really lovely. And the if I can show you where I painted in underneath, it absolutely has just dried the exact same shade as the background fabric. I hope you can see that. So that worked well as well. So even if you have something that's not quite right, like I didn't want those wings on the cloth to be visible, I've just painted them out, and I could have done that with acrylics, but I used my Inktense. So that's all I had time to do today. I was really trying to just have a video that was in real time with no editing. but it didn't work. This little bee took me almost 2.5 hours altogether, and so I have ended up editing the video down to get it to some sort of a reasonable length. But anyway, it's done and it looks lovely, and next week I'm going to finish this page by finishing this bit here and the other pieces of seam line that I haven't done yet. So I hope you tune in to watch that. It's still raining here, even though this is now the next day. It's still pouring down, and so we've just had such wet weather. But I'm going to be doing some clothes sewing this week, and so I would think I might have that ready for Sunday. And it'll be how you can make a pattern from something you already have and something you already wear yourself, so you don't have to always be buying patterns. So that if I get them done, in fact, this is what I'm going to make the skirt out of. This beautiful, like sort of an Air Force blue linen that's embroidered. And so my skirt's going to be that. And I'm not sure which of these two I'll be making the top out of. One or other of them. Because that's why I got them. I don't have many plain tops at all. Even this one, I did embroidery everywhere on it, so, and there's embroidery down here where you can't see it under my pinafore. Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Thanks for all your support. I had lots and lots of really lovely comments for last Sunday, so thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. And thank you everyone who's supported me on Ko-fi and Instagram, all the messages I get. I really enjoy it, and thank you for sending the thumbs up and all your messages. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you on Sunday with, well, probably clothes, but it could be something else. I don't actually know. I never plan them out. I just sit down and decide what I'm going to do usually. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye from Marion's World. See you later.